Good evening, Nick. It is Friday, and I did not make it outside because I ended up being sick for a lot longer than I expected. I've spent the vast majority of this general week sleeping when I am not doing things that are vitally important. But I wanted to stop showing my blue wall, so instead you can see the inside of my brown blanket. And I think it's technically a scene change, right? See, look how bouncy it is. So my bouncy blanket aside, Nick, I watched your video and you talked about the sentiment, that we get sentimental and all that jazz, and I wonder why we bother being sentimental, because we can never go back. And I think we see this a lot when we talk about golden ages. Like the golden age of the United States was in the 50s, which is a great golden age for white guys, but not so much for a lot of everybody else. Or back in Athens after the Peloponnesian War when they had a lot of philosophy, but they also had a lot of corruption. But there's always that golden age, that good, awesome part. That there were great, awesome things, and everybody wants to restore to those things, like on a computer where you can restore to the last point. But it's not. Reality doesn't have that restore button, Nick. And as I pointed out with those two golden ages, Nick, those pasts are mythologized in our minds, and it doesn't just have to be a historical time period. Even when we're thinking back on our Legos or our magazines, we harken back to a time when things were simpler and good, and they weren't necessarily that way. We hold on to things that remind us of things that were good, but were not necessarily that way, and we can do that with everything. I know people tend to do it with past relationships that probably were not great, and they can't let go of their ex-boyfriend or girlfriend because in their mind it was this super awesome thing, when clearly something was not good or not right, which caused it to stop being that way. And so I guess what I'm getting at is, how does our minds trick us into thinking things were great when they were not necessarily that way? And I know memory's faulty. I've watched studies, people, the more they remember things, sometimes manipulate them and change them, and our memories are not necessarily how things exactly happen. What causes us to put those things into that rose tint? What makes us want those things to be good so badly that we actually make them good, even though they were not necessarily so? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I mean, I do it. I'm not saying that. But I don't understand why I do it. I wish I didn't do it, but I do. And part of me thinks it's kind of cool, because something that was bad could end up being good in our minds. Or sadly, something that was good in our minds can end up being really, really bad. I mean, it's amazing how much we actually manipulate the past, even if we're not changing the actual past. It's our memories of the past that ultimately make it into the present, so we kind of are changing the past, at least from a certain perspective. I don't know, it's not a superpower I necessarily like having, but it's a superpower that I was given and I kind of have to deal with. It's a superpower that you also kind of have to deal with, Nick. I mean, if you'd like to explain why you think we try to make things rosy and better, feel free. I'd like to hear what you have to say. And I'll see you on Monday.